What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Hope all you're having a great day so far. Getting into this episode of GH, I enjoyed this episode. I really did because you know what? I think we finally got conclusive answers. I think to the whole Sunny, Nina, Carly situation. I enjoyed. I totally enjoyed the conversation Sunny and Dante had. I wish Michael could have been included in that conversation, but he's so judgmental, and I just love how real Sonny gets with Dante. You know what I'm saying? It's like Dante's like a confidant. You know what I mean? Um, but I think Sonny was being honest as he can be. You know what I'm saying about how he feels, and he made it clear he can't let go of his feelings for Nina, but that doesn't mean he wants to be with her because he made it clear to Dante he could have stayed. He could have had Nina stay when Nina was over at the penthouse. And mind you, in his drunken state, if he really wanted her, he could have had that. He could have hit that. And we all know Sonny would have if he wanted to. Oh, Sonny could have bent that thing over that couch if he wanted to, but he did. You know what I'm saying? Drunk and all. That man was staggering. And you know what happened when people on the soap get drunk and all that shit? They do reckless things. Sonny didn't do that. So that speaks volumes. You know, he knows that his feelings for Nina are real, but he's not acting on those feelings because that's not what he wants. Honestly, I'm glad Sonny went home because it's time for him and Carly to have a serious conversation. Um, Olivia went over to the Corinthos house or whatever. Before I even get into that, I just want to bring up something because it was fucking hilarious. Um, Sonny was asking Dante, "Oh, so when you was with Lulu, you ain't never had to sleep on the couch?" I had to laugh at that shit because I'm like, sir, this is not the same. Sleeping on the couch, you in a whole damn new residence. The hell with a couch, you got a whole new spot. Shit, what you mean? It is not the same. Y'all did not have a little spat, a little lover's quarrel. She kicked you out your home, out your happy place. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like she kicked you out of your happy home. No, you need to go on home, and I'm glad he did. He went and go talk to Carly. That's what they need to do. So Olivia went to go see Carly. Olivia didn't come for no orange juice. Olivia came to find out what the tea is, and Carly was spilling the tea. You know what I love about that conversation between her and Olivia? How Carly was like, "Oh, Nina fell in love with my husband, but my husband also fell in love with her." I love how Olivia threw that shit right back in her face. She was like, "So did you sit down with Sonny and tell him about your feelings for Jason?" I love how she threw that back in her face. 'Cause I'm like, it's really the same thing. It really is. And I've always said this. The only reason Carly can be mad at Sonny is for the fact that he didn't tell her up front about Nina and what happened between them. He waited so long. That's the only thing she need to be mad at him about. It was so funny how Carly was saying, "Well, I bottled up my feelings for Jason and I chose Sonny." Okay, Sonny did the same thing. He chose you. He came home to you. The night that he came back to Port Charles, the same night, he didn't go looking for Nina. He didn't stay with Nina. He came home to get you. He chose you. The only thing he guilty of is that he didn't tell you how he felt about Nina in the beginning. That's the only thing. But he chose your ass too. He's there for you. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. If he wanted to be with Nina, he would be with Nina. He would have been with her right now. I mean, his actions have suggested something the last few months between him and Nina, but that was to be expected. But at the end of the day, he's still with Carly. You know what I'm saying? He still chose her. He still ran after her after the court hearing. You know, when all that stuff came out, he chased after her. He tried to explain things to her. Like, he really tried to fix things with her, and he is trying. If he wanted to be with Nina, trust me, New Year's Eve, he could have been hitting that. Let's be honest. He could have been getting some of that on New Year's Eve. But he did. He chose to let her go. He said, "No, you should go." Now, the Sonny that we know from before, oh, he would have hit that. Oh, definitely. I mean, think about it like this. When him and Carly was going through problems before, he went to the Hornet Star and slept with her attorney. He didn't even know that was her lawyer, and he slept with her the first night he met her. and he was over there drinking. So imagine what he could have did with Nina on New Year's Eve, and he chose not to. Good job. And it was so funny how Olivia was sitting there saying how Sonny's a dog. Talking about, oh, Ned's a dog too. They are not no damn dog. First of all, Ned had a one night stand. That does not make him a dog. It was a one night stand because y'all were having communication problems and a whole bunch of other problems. That does not make that man no dog. I kind of will agree with her about Sonny being a dog. Sonny just a hub. But, that was the old Sonny. I think I want to say he gave up his whole phase, but, we don't know. But I just really hope that, Carly and Sonny sit down and have a conversation. They hash shit out. You know? I think they should. Because I really don't have the patience for another Sonny Carly breakup. I don't have that kind of time. Like, I don't feel like dealing with that shit. Not now, not ever. And I'm happy that Olivia is in a place now where she can actually say the word autism, because it was a struggle for her to say it, but I'm glad she can now say it without breaking down crying. Her life is moving in a positive direction, and that's good. Her and Ned are back on the path to greatness in their marriage. They're renewing their vows. He's adopting Leo. Everything is going smooth for her. I'm happy for her. So anyway, moving on from that, Tracy had the gall. First of all, I'm happy that Ned told Alexis about Luke, because Carly was sitting there, not answering her phone because Bobby kept trying to get in touch with her to tell her about Luke. And Olivia was going to tell her, but she was like, no, I'm going to let your mama tell you, but you need to call her back. I said, exactly. I understand Carly going through some mess, but call your mama back. You got a death in the family. Alleged, because Luke ain't dead. Trust me, if they was really killing off Luke, we would have a whole damn episode centered on him. Flashbacks and all, a memorial. We ain't got none of that so far, so he ain't dead. They ain't show not one flashback of him. That's how you know they ain't really kill him off. But yeah, I'm glad Alexis finally knows about it, And then of course Tracy come up in there. I'm like, Tracy is bold. Like, Tracy knew damn well coming back to Port Charles was gonna be iffy, because she knew when she left that she had a warrant out for her. So she should have hired a lawyer, took care of all that before she even popped up in town. That's what she should have did. Because as soon as Alexis and Sam saw her, they was like, oh, hell no. Alexis was like, what the hell? They were tight that she was back in town. Because she came in there, trying to talk to Ned or whatever about BLQ and this baby. She was going to tell him the tea about what's really going on with this kid. And I love the little jabs that Tracy and Alexis were throwing at each other. She basically tried to accuse Alexis of failing her way to the top or sleeping her way to the top. I was like, damn, Tracy, tell her how you really feel. And it was so funny because Tracy was like, oh, so you want me in prison? She was like, basically, I live with Monica. I'm already in prison. That shit was hilarious. She was like, shit, I'm living with her. And then she was like, talking about how Monica be moaning about some Russian. She talking about Yuri. I said, yo, Monica is still thinking about Yuri? They need to let Yuri and Monica get it on. I'm tired of this, because it's obvious that they want each other. And Monica want that young thing. He want that old thing. She want that young thing. Let the young and the old get together. Yuri looked like a strapping young fella. I'm pretty sure Yuri looked like he could do some things with Monica. And Monica looked like she could show him some things. Like, he all strong and buff. He could probably pick her little behind up. She could give him that, that seasoned stuff. Show him how a young girl can't throw it back like the veterans could throw it back. Listen, if they do a love making scene between Monica and Yuri, I will be sitting with some popcorn watching that shit like it's Playboy TV. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'll be sitting there glued, eating my popcorn watching that. You know how fun that would be? That shit would be interesting. Listen, as much as I say Yuri ain't ready for Monica, part of me feel like Monica not ready for him, because Yuri young. He look like he could go the distance. I don't know, at Monica age, I don't know if she could go that long, but we shall find out. It was hilarious though, because Alexis was like talking about writing an article about privilege and stuff like that. I'm like, all of y'all are privileged though. Like all of y'all got out of y'all legal situations that a regular person would have spent decades in prison for, but y'all got a slap on the wrist pretty much. So y'all all got privilege. It ain't just Tracy. Um, so when Tracy was trying to talk to Ned about BLQ, Dante came because Sam done called Dante to come to the Metro Court. And as soon as Dante saw Tracy, yep, slapped the cuffs on her. I don't understand why Tracy was so surprised she was getting arrested. She knew she was a fugitive. Like she knew all of this. Why are you shocked? That shit was hilarious. I'm like, y'all need to go ahead and hire her an attorney quickly. Um. So anyway, and it was super funny how Alexis and Sam, while she was getting arrested, they were clinking their coffee mugs. That shit was funny. I said, why is y'all sending my boo to jail? Like, we not doing this. Tracy did not come all the way back from Amsterdam to get locked up. Absolutely not. Get her up out of this. Free Tracy. So anyway, moving on from that. Ava Ava did exactly what I expected Ava to do when she saw Nina. When she found out what happened in the courtroom and stuff and Willow and all that stuff snitching, it was hilarious because Ava was egging Nina on. And Ava was trying to use the situation to her advantage. Because if she know that there's cracks in the foundation between Sonny and Carly, she's gonna use that to try to get more custody of Avery. And my thing is, you don't need to use that. Why not just go to court and ask a judge for more time or shared custody? You can always go to the court and review the custody agreement. Like, kind of move it around or whatever, or readjust it, however you pronounce it, but you can always, do that. So I don't get why Ava just don't do it. Like, just go there and try to, shift it around a bit. If you want more time with Avery, go to the court. So you gotta do. But I hate how she was sitting there trying to pump Nina up. Like, she was definitely trying to pump Nina up, talking about, oh, Sonny still can't shake his feelings for you. Like, she really wants Nina to go for it with Sonny. I feel like that would be ill-advised because Nina wants something that's not totally real. Like, she expects Sonny to be the man that she knew in Nixon Falls. That's not going to be who you get. Sonny is still Sonny at the end of the day. I mean, look at him. Before Dante popped up at the penthouse, he was on the phone talking mob business. Nina can't, she's not going to handle that 24/7. She's not going to be able to handle that life. There's no way. She fell in love with a guy who was not a part of that life. And she is making herself think that she's Sonny's happiness. She's his happily ever after. You're not. As much as you want to think that, but you're not. You're not his happily ever after. You're not it. I think Sonny has feelings for her. Yes, he admitted to that. But you're not his end goal. You know what I'm saying? You're not the end game. Definitely not. Half the time, I don't think Carly is his end game. In my opinion, I feel like Brenda's that. Definitely. So I hope Nina, keeps her distance and figures out something else to do because you don't want to sit there and poke the bear. Leave this alone. You do not want to do this. Absolutely not. So anyway, moving on from that, I was actually feeling Gladys today. I love how motherly Gladys was being towards Brando. She was really being there for him, trying to give him advice and happy that, he's allowing himself to grieve and to hurt and stuff like that. And he's also moving on. He went back to work at the garage and stuff. And that's a point that Sasha was trying to make, because he didn't think it was a good idea for her to be going back to work so soon. But she was like, shit, what can I do? She was like, she's not going to sit there in the apartment all day and look at the walls. She got to get back out, even if it is too soon. I think it's too soon, but some people like to keep busy. It's definitely too soon, but at the end of the day, she's going to be grieving the loss of her child for a very long time, probably forever. Grief never really stops. You just get better at it. So, especially when she went to the office and stuff and she saw little Bailey/Louise, it made her emotional. You could see the tears in her eyes. So I'm glad that she took a moment, went to the bathroom, got herself together, gave herself a little pep talk, and she went right back to work. I like it, I'm glad that she's moving on, she's getting back out there. She's not, just wallowing in grief all day, every day. She's trying to, shift her energy to deception, as she should. They got this new IPO that's about to come out. They got to focus on business. I don't agree with the IPO though. I think something fishy gonna happen. I'm not happy about it. And the reason I say that is because when you do an IPO, you're giving up power. You know what I'm saying? Like you're losing a majority of the control. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you don't. It depends. But I don't know because you got Valentine lurking around, and you know he still want revenge on BOQ, and she's a part of deception. So you never know what machinations he might pull or what somebody else might try to pull. Somebody might try to buy up the stock so they can take the company out from under Lucy. You never know. So you gotta be careful with that. Um, BLQ and Maxie though, as much as they're trying to focus on business, they got bigger problems because I like the little cat and mouse game BLQ and Tracy were playing with each other at the mansion. Um, when Tracy was making sarcastic compliments to BLQ on her mothering and stuff like that, on her parenting skills, that shit was hilarious. And she brought up the fact that Felicia was fearing that Maxie was trying to use the baby as a substitute child or something. That line right there, I felt like what pieced it together for BLQ that Tracy knows everything. Like she knows that that's Maxie's child. I think that line right there, because BLQ was trying to tell her that people change, and Tracy wasn't buying that bullshit. Tracy was like, no. She was like, people, you think people may change, but she felt like they just get better at hiding it. At hiding who they really are. I felt like in that moment, BLQ should have just told Tracy what really was going, like what's really going on, because I feel like Tracy would have helped them. She would have kept up the ruse if she knew the details of it. But now Maxie and BLQ got to figure out a way to neutralize Tracy so that way the secret don't come out. I mean, with her going to jail right about now, you don't really have to worry too much, but I think she was definitely about to tell Ned. But that's why I feel like she just need to tell Tracy the whole story, because I think Tracy alive for her. She knew the whole scenario, you know. But anyway, I enjoyed this episode. Hit the comment section, let me know what you guys thought, and I'll see you all later. Have a great night. Peace.